Hello everyone, welcome to the final round of Swiss of Grand Prix Vancouver 2012. Rich Hagan and Steve Sadin bringing you the math melting pot that is the last round of Swiss. Paul Rietzl is on 33 points. If he wins, he gets to 36, might just be enough. More likely he's on the outside looking in. Michael Lewis is on 34 points. Wins, he gets to 37, very likely on the inside looking out. Elsewhere, tables 2, 3 and 4 trying to decide, do we draw, do we play? So much to play for. Here's Steve Sadin to take you through the early turns.
Michael Lewis has gotten off to an early lead with a Thraben Valiant and a Timberland Guide. He chose to put the Timberland Guide counter onto itself, already paying some dividends as Rietzl has played a 2-2 blocker of his own. And Michael Lewis has a Druid's Familiar. Suddenly, he's off to a huge lead. Attacking in for 6. Rietzl can trade his Devout Chaplain for the Timberland Guide. Even if he does that, he's taking 4. He's at 14, staring down 8 points of damage.
What's interesting here is that Paul really likes his deck. We saw him last round.
And Paul just took all the damage.
Yeah.
He's now on 12.
And is green-white as well. So, interesting to see how this plays out.
That Druid's Familiar was just absolutely huge for Michael Lewis. Rietzl has a Seraph of Dawn. He can potentially double block one of Michael Lewis's 4-power creatures.
But boy, is he ever blown out by Joint Assault.
Zealous Strike. Oh. And Michael is attacking with his Druid's Familiar.
Yeah.
Rietzl plays with a lot of guts. He will constantly force his opponents to have that card. So I could see him. No, he's just going to block. Put Seraph of Dawn in front of the Timberland Guide.
And Zealous Strike, kill off your Seraph of Dawn. You don't gain the life because I get to first strike you to dead. Then I get to attack the rest. You're at 4. Good game. Where's the comeback here? I mean, wow.
Short of a Terminus,
yeah,
there really aren't many things.
I mean, okay, Paul's got to 3 creatures in play, which isn't bad off 5 mana,
but he has to block both of Michael's 4-power creatures, or else he dies. So he could potentially double block the Druid's Familiar and put his Moorland Inquisitor, or any of his 2/2s in front of the Thraben Valiant. And if Michael doesn't have any tricks,
Paul can just drop to
2 life. Both the Druid's Familiar and the Thraben Valiant would die.
Yes, because once the Familiar dies, then the pair ability goes away. So here comes the blocks.
Yeah. If Michael has any tricks, Paul's just dead anyway. Any Joint Assault or... Oh, we see Paul is instead choosing to put 2 creatures in front of the Thraben Valiant.
And we're going to Cloud Shift.
Pumping
Good
up the Timberland
game.
Guide.
Beatings. Wow.
That was fast.
That was a savage kicking.
Yeah.
Guy on turn 2, guy on turn 3, Druid's Familiar on turn 4, trickery, good game. Who should we have next on camera shot? 2 minutes into the final round. Now, what's... Sorry, I was just going to say, Steve, you've been at the back end of these events. Right now, only 2 minutes in, I wonder if there are people at tables 2, 3, and 4 who haven't signed result slips yet for IDs or not, and can already see that 34-point guy is beating Paul.
Well, physically, they can't see that because their tables are away from the feature match area.
They're not in the right place to see that information.
If this was not a feature match, the people around there would know. Wow. They would be able to take in that information.
Just have a little glimpse and yeah.
But they have no idea what's going on. They're totally outside of it.
So I wonder what has happened at tables 2, 3, and 4.
We'll
see if we can find. We'll see if we can find that out at some point.
We see Paul reaching deep into his sideboard, taking out about 5 cards. So how quickly Michael Lewis exploded in that first game, looking for ways to speed up his own game.
I'll play those 3 Haunted Guardians.
Yeah, just he needs to buy time.
Angelic Walls.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just an absolutely brutal game.
How do you mentally deal with the idea that a 40-minute game, ignoring time management, but a 40-minute game that goes down to 4 cards left in the library each, which you lose, is exactly the same one on the scoreboard as the 5-turn destruction mauling that you've just had? Which is more likely to put you on tilt? Do you find a way to literally go, I'm 1-0 down, I'm 1-0 down, it doesn't matter whether you fireballed me for 20, or you comboed me out, or you've just done what we've seen here? Is it all the same to you?
I actually prefer games that are pretty even throughout them, and eventually my opponent's able to pull away. I don't really mind being beaten quickly. I'm not behind for that long. The games that I hate are the long, drawn-out games where I'm behind the whole time.
Oh, and
struggle.
struggle.
Finally, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and my opponent just kills me.
Yeah. Love ranks you.
I've spent 20 minutes losing.
Right. Okay, I understand. Yeah.
But a game like this, that happens. That's magic.
Yep.
You are just going to lose in 3 minutes sometimes. Paul's been playing for years and years. He understands. He's been on the good side of that and the bad side of that more times than I can imagine. He's a Pro Tour champion, a Grand Prix champion. He has countless top 8s. He's been here. He can deal with that.
You see, for me, I think there's quite a big difference between the losing early and losing late. Like, let's suppose I know that you beat me in game 1 with a turn 8 Entreat the Angels, something like that. Now, I understand that means in a long game I may be in trouble, but maybe I find ways to speed my own deck up to prevent it happening before we get there, or I hold back some kind of counter magic, or whatever it turns out to be. Or, I don't play my Terminus until you've tried to Entreat, for example. But when it's quick like that, if in game 2 my opponent goes, turn 2, here's Thraben Valiant again, I'm like, the red alert sign goes on straight away, because I'm like, you're only 3 turns away from doing to me what you did last time. So I don't like when I've lost quickly to an aggressive deck, knowing how quickly they can put me in the bin again.
Sure. And right now we actually see Paul taking into account how quick his opponent's deck is.
Okay.
See, he has a hand, good mix of spells, only 2 lands, a plains and an island.
And the island's
blue being
the
his splash color.
It is, yeah.
But he has a Borderland Ranger in there, so if he does draw a forest, he's going to be able to cast anything.
Yeah, basically, because we had Paul last round, his blue splash is not for a blue card as such at all. It's just for part of the cost on Bruno. So obviously that is technically a blue
indeed.
card, just to clarify for rules, it is a blue card, but not in the blue column on the deck list.
Paul ultimately decides to keep. If he doesn't draw a forest quickly, though,
2
this game
turns.
could be over.
That isn't
in
one. There's an island.
2,
splash.
3 minutes. We've seen what
Yep.
Michael's deck is.
There
capable of.
is turn 2, Thraben Valiant again.
Oh. Paul drew a 3rd land, but it's a plains. Does he even? No, he doesn't even have a spell. He can
Okay,
cast
what's
here.
turn 3 from Michael? Attack and another one. Paul, what have you drawn?
Oh, he drew a blocker.
Yeah, but is turn 4 going to be Druid's Familiar? Let's see.
No.
Nope, just pile in. Paul takes the trade, and is probably quite relieved to get the trade.
Yeah.
I can tell you that tables 2, 3, and 4 have all ID'd, so they will variously be hoping that Paul Rietzl does them a favour here, or does at least one of them a favour.
If Paul comes back and wins this match, all the people who just threw in will be Completely
sure.
guaranteed.
Also, if Morgan Chang then loses to Jeremy Schofield, it may be that Paul gets in ahead of Morgan in 8th. Morgan Chang could be put out by Jeremy Schofield, pursuing perfection.
We see Paul finally drew that forest that he needed. He's able to cast Borderland Ranger. Michael Lewis hasn't been making plays after he got off to his quick start. He had the turn 2 Thraben Valiant. He had a turn 3 Thraben Valiant. And then since then, nothing.
Nada.
Suddenly, Paul is the one in the driver's seat. Michael desperately needs to find some threats that he can use to put Paul out of the game before Paul's bigger late game spells are able to take over.
Yeah. The thing is, Michael's probably relatively calm in as much as he didn't see a ton of excitement from Paul, obviously, in game 1. He doesn't know that Paul's late game is super sweet. So, and the fact that it's not like Michael has tried a bunch of stuff and it's been blunted, it's that he hasn't done very much yet. So, his Druid's familiar. Can I pair them up? Paul is going to say, sure. And then the Valiant's coming in. Now, Paul's got Restoration Angel here. Which
he's certainly going to cast in combat. The question is, does he trade or attempt to trade the Restoration Angel for his opponent's Valiant? Or does he put the Borderland Ranger in front of it before damage is able to go on the stack, Restoration Angel it away, get himself a 6th land?
Bonus Borderland. Yeah, that looks like the line.
And we see Paul has a Nightshade Peddler in his hand that actually does a lot to neutralize Druid's Familiar.
Yeah.
And it looks like he also has a gold rare in his hand, which you saw.
Little Miss Bruna.
Bruna, Light of Alabaster.
You are spot on, Steve, saying it. It is starting to look pretty good for Paul Rietzl here in game 2. That will please
all the people.
37s mightily. It won't please Morgan Chang. Wonder what's happening in table 1. What's happening with Jeremy up against Morgan Chang. Brian Kibler's won up against Tom Martell, and Sam Black's also won to the good at table 7 up against Brian Schweikowski.
Which if Rietzl wins, then you have a number, and Schofield wins.
Yep.
You have a number of 36-point players who are all going to jockey for position.
It should be Rietzl, though. Rietzl would feel he would be ahead of Morgan Chang, would hope to be. We'll see. Right now, he's got to use Champion of Lambholt as part of a path towards a 1-1 equalizing score.
Followed by a Nightshade Peddler that he immediately paired with Borderland Ranger.
Get a counter on the champion.
Now, this is a tough spot for Michael. Yes, Borderland Ranger. That Nightshade Peddler actually just sort of single-handedly held off Michael's offense.
I think, in all honesty, I think that's the card I most misevaluated in this set to start with. I really imagined that it would be largely terrible. I'm pretty averse to 1-1s.
Sure.
In general, and I rated it very, very lowly. And the more I see of it, the more I understand what it can do for you. So, Champion of Lambholt at 1 counter, Nightshade Peddler, Borderland Ranger, Restoration Angel on your left, Druid's Familiar paired up with Thraben Valiant, and a Borderland Ranger of his own for Michael Lewis on the right.
And Paul's hand is just incredible in this position. He has a terrifying presence, so even if Michael is able to claw his way into a good attack, Paul can just completely neutralize it. A Tormentor's Trident, a Bruna, and a Seraph of Dawn, which works quite nicely with Tormentor's Trident.
Counter on the champion. Michael draws. Indicates the, let's see whether there's a miracle there.
Paul could also choose to put the trident on his champion and attack through completely unmolested.
Yep. Yeah, things 14 each doesn't tell the story of how things are right now. This is all Rietzl at the moment. He's just going to put his Seraph of Dawn in front of Borderland Ranger, going to put his own Borderland Ranger in front of Thraben Valiant. Just reminding that there's Death Touch, courtesy of the Nightshade Peddler pair.
Rietzl understands that Michael very well may have a trick. Which
he does. Cloud Shift. Repair. And that potentially is going to kill off the Seraph of Dawn.
So now, Paul, we know that Paul has a terrifying presence in his hand. We saw that to the top-down cam. Will he cast it here? It looks like he's going to. He does. He casts it on his Borderland Ranger, so that way he can still take out the Thraben Valiant in its pocket. Keeps the Seraph of Dawn alive. And Michael has a follow-up play of a Nettle Swine, but that isn't getting him really anywhere.
Which is an indication of how dominant Rietzl's position is, because Nettle Swine's a decent card. It's like
big body.
Big guy.
So now, Paul needs to decide, does he want to play the Tormentor's Trident? Does he want to put it on the Champion or the Seraph of Dawn? Does he just want to play his Angel? I think it would be a bit unnecessary to play the Angel at this point. Leaves him more open to a card like Terminus than he has to be. But even though Michael probably does not have Terminus, there's no reason for Paul to discount that possibility. So Paul does play the Tormentor's Trident, follows it up with a Near East Pilgrim that he pairs with Lamphold Elder, and then equips the Trident to the Lamphold Elder, and Michael just concedes.
One apiece. Lewis up to 37 if he wins. Rietzl to 36 if he wins. Right now, only one person is guaranteed to be in the top 8, and that is Jeremy Schofield, who is currently playing on table 1 against Morgan Chang, who coming into this last round was in second place at the head of the 36s, but is being forced to play by a man partly in pursuit of destiny and also in pursuit of helping out friends from the Alberta region. So we'll see how table 1 pans out. Kibler up a game on table 6, Sam Black up a game. As he said, yeah, I came back here at 6-3 overnight, one of the 21 players who had a less than 7-2 record, who made it in by being in the top 128. He said, yeah, I'm going to go 6-0 today and finish in the top 16. I think he's about to be spot on in that regard.
No, maybe not what he was hoping for coming into this weekend, but if you go 6-3 on day 1, you've got to be happy just to be able to play again on Sunday.
What you are looking at there is the back feature match between Jeremy Schofield and Morgan Chang. A ton of Canadians behind Jeremy Schofield. You see Doug Potter with the orange hair on the right of shot. And there's a running Paul Rietzl just jogging back from a trip to the restroom. He is joining us once again at the feature match table.
Now, game 1 was all Michael Lewis. He won it in a matter of minutes.
Yep.
Game 2 looked like Michael was going to run away with it again. He got off to a fast start. He had 4 power on the board before Paul had played a single spell. Paul didn't have the lands he needed to cast anything.
He drew the forest at exactly the last turn he could sensibly do so. And survive.
At that point, the tune changed entirely. Suddenly, Michael was out of spells. Paul had everything he could possibly hope for and just dominated the game from that point forward. Now we're getting ready for game 3. Seems like Paul may have some of the tools required to win a game quickly, but I don't think that's what he's planning on.
Yeah, I mean, he felt he was pretty aggressive in that. I mean, he had 6 2-drops. He was saying before the start of round 1, I talked to him. I said, you know, how's the last draft gone? And he said, yeah, I think my deck's really good. But he's been made to work. Both his opponents so far have had early drops and have managed to sort of stabilize and make the game a little bit grindy against him. But here we are, getting ready for the last one. And then we wait.
So right now, both of these players are hoping to win this match and rooting as hard as they possibly can for Jeremy Schofield to win his match against Morgan Chang.
Yep.
Hoping Jeremy goes to 15-0, knocks Morgan down to 12-3, 36 points, and gives the winner of this match a chance to jump into the ace slot.
If it's Paul and Michael equally 37. We're away, 2 drops on both sides. Wandering Wolf up against Thraben Valiant.
Michael decides to attack. Paul trades.
And it's Moonlit Geist.
Paul has a Near East Pilgrim and a 3rd land.
There's the pair.
Michael Lewis has a Druid's Familiar. He's attacking for 4 in the air. Knocks Paul down to 16.
Paul has a Seraph of Dawn, which seems pretty reasonable.
But still, he can't block any. The Seraph of Dawn won't be able to block either of Michael's creatures on its own.
No.
Paul could put Seraph of Dawn and Near East Pilgrim in front of Druid's Familiar, should Michael choose to attack with it, but any combat trick.
Yeah, we've already
be
seen
Paul.
Zealous Strike. We know that Joint Assault is a card that's around. Paul is obviously now tapped out here. He is going to pair. It is a hell of a risk to do the double block. But what else do you do? Let's see.
Well, Paul doesn't want to fall down to 8.
The thing is, I mean, he has a lot of life gain potentially. I'd be just so scared of being tapped out. I think I would rather drop to 8 and have some mana and be prepared to have a game when you have your Zealous Strike. Because right now, if Paul double blocks the Druid and tries to get it done,
Michael attack
and should Michael attack with the Druid's Familiar, and he goes double block and Zealous Strike, give it first strike,
no,
6/6
Michael
strike.
does not attack with the Druid's Familiar.
Okay.
So Paul now knows with absolute certainty that Michael does not have a Zealous Strike or a Joint Assault in his hand.
Okay.
So Paul can take that information with him.
Yes, so that really does change things so grinding. Another Thraben Valiant comes down for Michael Lewis.
That was a huge turn for Paul in a lot of ways.
Informationally.
Oh, yeah. Now this is going to serve him so well throughout the rest of the game.
So Brian Kibler has defeated Tom Martell 2-0. Sam Black back to 1-1. But in our other feature match, I believe they're still going. Is that 1-0 to Morgan Chang? So Chang leads.
All right. Paul just took that opportunity to attack in with his Seraph of Dawn, putting himself up to 14 and knocking Michael down to 18. Before playing a Spectral Gate Guards and passing the turn. Now it looks like the only creature Michael can attack with is his Moonlight Geist.
Yeah.
Which he does. Knocks Paul down to 10.
But it's only two a turn at the moment because of the Seraph going back the other way. Michael Lewis down to 2 cards, I believe. Paul has 4.
Michael just passed his turn without making a play. Oh, we see Paul has a Druid's Familiar of his own.
Nice. But he'd love, of course, to pair it up with Seraph of Dawn, but it's already paired with the Near Heath Pilgrim.
Right. So Paul will once again attack with his Angel. He just dropped a what looked like a Zealous Strike into his lap.
Ah, now Cloud Shift my Geist, bring it back, repair.
Oh, jeez.
And put it in the way.
So now
that's pretty big.
Paul. Oh.
He's
Wow.
Restoration
Paul has a big play of his
Angel.
own.
Oh, this is great magic.
Oh, so now Paul can not only save his Seraph of Dawn, but unpair it. Oh, it's non-angel. It's non-angel.
Boy.
He can't do that.
And
jeez.
Have they just established that that's the case?
Looks like. Jeez.
Oh,
so Paul
wow.
thought that he had an amazing play of his own. Instead, the Seraph of Dawn is just going to die.
Is going to flat out die.
Now, Paul had a Zealous Strike in his hand. He could have used that, but he didn't realize Restoration Angel's limitation.
And let's be honest, that limitation is strictly there to prevent the kind of abuse that involves you going just constantly bounce it back itself.
Right.
I mean, that's the clause that it's there. It's not there to prevent things like this, if you like, in the design of the card, but here it is. Oh,
jeez. That was brutal.
That is huge. Paul still looking at the board.
Now, Paul plays a lot of Magic, online. He played Restoration Angel at the last Pro Tour. He knows what the card does. This just doesn't come up.
Yeah, it doesn't do that. That's the thing, until now.
Yeah.
Well, my goodness. Wow.
That was huge. Huge. Paul was looking to run away with the game, but instead, it's close again.
It really is. But Michael passes.
No play.
So
he knows Restoration Angel is a 3/4 lifelinker.
Yep.
He doesn't want to. Michael doesn't want to attack in with his 4/3 Moonlight Geist, then get clobbered for 3, and see Paul gain another 3 life.
Druid's Familiar for Paul.
Pairs with the gate guards.
So that's 4/7. Wow. And now Paul is going to send in. Now, of course, Michael can prevent the life gain, can't he? Because if he blocks with his Geist, he can then prevent the damage to and from.
Correct. So, neither of the creatures will deal any damage, and Paul will gain
no life.
No life.
Yeah. Well, the life link is there, it's just no damage.
Just not dealing damage. Correct. But even if he does that, Paul's still getting in for 4 damage. She does. Michael's on 14. Now, Michael needs to draw something good fast. He got a huge break on the Restoration Angel, but even with Paul playing it incorrectly, he's still got a 3/4 flyer that now has lifelink disappeared.
Paul is still reading Restoration Angel.
Yeah, he can't.
You see that like head shake, head shake, head shake, head shake. Really? Is that what it actually says? I can tell you there's a big crowd around the feature match area right now. Not just around Paul's match, but also around Jeremy Schofield against Morgan Chang. The ironic thing is that if we could see Paul win here to go to 36 and Morgan Chang win, and because the IDs went on tables 2, 3 and 4, that would leave Paul Rietzl probably in 9th or 10th, but certainly not in 8th.
Should Chang win, Rietzl has no chance of taking the top 8.
Yeah, only Lewis can get in if Chang wins.
If Lewis wins.
Yes, in this one, if Lewis wins.
So Paul both needs to win his match
and have Jeremy Schofield do him a favor.
And hope that his tiebreakers hold up. And
I think 2 of those 3 are relatively likely.
The Gold Knight Redeemer pulls up to 20 life.
He has so much life gain in this
board
deck.
Position right now.
Yeah.
Makes the same attack that he did last turn. Sends in his 4/7 Spectral Gate Guards and his 3/4 Lifelinking Restoration Angel. Wonder if Michael will choose to trade. No? Is he just going to take the damage?
Rietzl up to
Just
23.
took the damage.
Lewis down to 7.
Does Lewis have any way to break through?
Abundant Growth. Draw a card. Seems a long time ago that he annihilated Paul in game 1.
He got that very quick victory. Got off to an early lead in game 2, but since then, it's been mostly Paul Rietzl. And things, just every turn, things have been getting better and better for Paul. Paul trying to see if he might be able to win the game this turn. Or at the very least, force Michael to make some unfortunate blocks. Yeah. You know, just Paul attacks with everything. He knows this is not going to be good for Michael. I think Michael needs to block with all 4 of his creatures if he decides to block the Near East Pilgrim in order to live through the turn. Yeah, Michael's board is just going to be decimated, and he's going to have maybe 3, 4 life left to play with. Maybe
if we get a 3rd game in Jeremy Schofield, Morgan Chang, we will do whatever we can to get that onto camera for you. But we do have a policy of not moving players mid-game, so if they get into the 3rd game, we can't do it. We'll see what happens. Right now, as far as we're aware, Morgan Chang leads Jeremy Schofield 1-0.
Now, it looks like Michael's going to be able to survive this turn. There's still no guarantees. We don't know exactly what's in Paul's hand. But even if he does, he needs something of the caliber of Terminus, Bonfire of the Damned, or Entreat the Angels to even have a chance. Even then, I don't know if that'll be enough.
Entreat would be enough, off the top, as a miracle. That would get the job done pretty efficiently.
Michael would be able to generate, what is it, 6 angels?
It's quite a lot, isn't it?
Even that, Paul's creatures are big.
Still 24 power guys.
True.
It's quite a lot.
I think Entreat. I could see Entreat doing it.
Yeah. Just for the record, we do not have the lists in front of us. We're kind of flying blind, partly intentionally, because it's kind of fun for us to think about what might he have, rather than looking at the list and going, yeah, don't see a way out here. So we're not slow rolling the entreat that we can see in front of us he has in the deck or anything like that. We've been in this board state for a while now. I'm kind of
thinking we're figure out his block.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling we might not be far away from a judge saying
I could
time to rock and roll.
definitely see a slow play warning if Michael doesn't make a decision eminently. Oh, Michael has a Death
Wind for Restoration Angel. Do you know that can bounce a non-angel? Restoration Angel? That's what it does.
Yeah. Paul knows that now too. Oh,
Zealous
wow.
Strike on my near Heath Pilgrim.
Another huge play.
Yeah,
so
Michael's
that'll
tapped
first
out.
strike away the Druid's Familiar. Make Moonlight Geist a 2/1.
Make it small. Put everything you've ever owned in the bin. Put your hopes of the top 8 in the bin.
Nope. And
okay,
that's it.
Paul Rietzl goes to 36 points. He may well be the top 36 point player when all is shaken out. In the background, somebody is still playing. Jeremy Schofield and Morgan Chang are still playing. But are they in game 2? Are they in game 3? They're still in game 2. Oh, they're in game 3? Oh, wow. So we are not going to be able to bring you that on camera, I'm afraid.